There's a scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender that perfectly shows what a broken person is. In this scene, Zuko is able to reveal to everyone that the reason he is always angry is because he's angry with himself. This anger and self-resentment is what I would consider the start of a redemption. Many characters in shows and movies have done this over the years, and overall, redemption arcs are just great. How's it going, everybody? My name is Mofo Genius, and welcome back to another video. After finally coming back since October, I'm deciding to finally make a video again, so it's good to be back. So the whole point of this video is really just to discuss redemption, why everybody loves it, and why some shows get it wrong. I'm really going to be discussing about one show that gets it wrong, but what I'm going to be talking about is three different things. 2 shows and 1 movie and how they do redemption. So why do we love redemption? One of the biggest things is we love seeing a character succeed and come back from their struggles. It's why whenever a character goes from good to evil, it hurts. Except in Attack on Titan, when it's done just phenomenally. Seeing a person go from evil to good is pleasing. Seeing a character beat their inner demons will want us to support that character even more. So the 2 shows and 1 movie that showcase redemption are the following: The Last Airbender, phenomenal show; 13 Reasons Why, a very bland, average show; and A Silent Voice, one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll go ahead and start with Avatar. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail about Zuko's redemption arc, because a lot of videos have been done about it, so I'm just going to kind of give you guys a recap. Also, spoiler warning for the following 3 things. So to recap Avatar, first of all, Zuko was banished, and his goal is to hunt the Avatar so he can go home. During his time trying to hunt the Avatar, he's constantly upset and angry and hates his uncle at times. His uncle is trying to guide him towards the right path, but he isn't taking it. Throughout the show, he does show signs that there is good in him. We see that a lot in Season 2, especially his own episode, Zuko Alone. Season 2 really deep dived into Zuko's character, that he can change and can be good. He had a chance to change, but he threw it away, and he regrets that decision a lot. Finally, he faces his inner demons and he joins Team Avatar, or at least attempts to. He fails at it, but then finally he's able to actually get into Team Avatar. From that point on, he was pretty much saved. He was able to change, and he was able to grow. It's easily one of the best redemption arcs ever told. The next show I'm going to talk about is 13 Reasons Why, and I'll go into more detail with this, especially since you may not have watched 13 Reasons Why, which if you didn't, that's totally understandable because the show isn't very great to begin with. So the character that I'm going to talk about that attempts to do a redemption arc is the character Bryce Walker. So who is Bryce Walker? Well, Bryce is the popular guy and he's an upperclassman. Throughout the show, Bryce is just shown as kind of a douche. He actively bullies people and harasses women. And the most evil moment that Bryce does is when he raped Hannah, who is, in Season 1, the main character that talks about the reason why she killed herself. And Bryce was one of those reasons. In Season 1, he's shown to be a douche, and in Season 2, he's possibly even worse now. He's shown to be a person with no regrets of his actions. He doesn't care about what he did. We also find out in Season 2 that he raped another woman. In Season 2, it takes place in mainly a court. They kind of take the same approach of Season 1, where it was the tapes, and Season 2, it was the court. And in the court, it's shown that he just lies about everything. He doesn't have any regrets about what he did, nor does he really care about the situation in general. He lies in court saying he never raped Hannah or bullied her, and he gets away with it. Then we get into Season 3. This point, pretty much everybody hates Bryce. Bryce is a douche. He's a terrible person. But then in Season 3, they try to show you his good side, or how he's just a broken person. He meets Annie, who is one of the main characters in Season 3, and is probably, I guess, the most important character in Season 3. A lot of people don't like her, though, because she wasn't a very good character. So in this season, Bryce seems like he could be a good guy. He's shown that several times with Annie and with his mom, just everything in general. He's shown that he can be a good guy. In this season, he's finally confronted with his mistakes and he actually feels bad. He actually has regrets for the things that he did. And he just actively feels like a piece of shit, and he believes that he is the monster. But in the end of Season 3, before he's able to really receive a redemption arc, he dies, which I think is pretty stupid, and I'll go into detail why in just a moment. For the next example of redemption, this one comes from my favorite movie of all time, as I mentioned, A Silent Voice. So A Silent Voice follows the story of Shoya, who to start the film is in high school, but we immediately get a flashback of him in elementary school. During this time, Shoya is just a kid who is bored. The class gets a new student and her name is Shoko. Turns out that she's deaf. When Shoko comes in, he's at first okay with her being there. In fact, he's actually excited that she's there. But throughout his time there, he sees that his friends just don't like her. So to make them feel better, he bullies her. Shoya believes that if he bullies her, then that will make his friends feel better, and it does work. So each time he takes it further and further. Now eventually this comes back where she's bullied so much that he gets in trouble for it. He tries to call out other people that also participated in the bullying, and it came back to bite him in the ass. At this point, the bully became the bullied. After the elementary school scene flashback is done with, we fast forward back to the present day where we see that he struggles with social anxiety and depression. And in fact, he even plans on killing himself. Before he does though, he wants to confront Shoko and apologize for what he did. But he later decided that Shoko was the reason why he wanted to keep living. And so now he decides that he wants to be friends with her. So as the story progresses, I won't go into too much detail. I plan on making a video about this movie. As time goes on, their friendship develops, and he finally gets to the point where his redemption arc is not only does he learn to apologize to Shoko for what he did in the past, but he learns to finally forgive himself for what he did, and he's finally able to move forward. And this is a huge moment for his redemption arc that makes it complete. Why is it that Avatar in a silent voice works and 13 Reasons doesn't though? Well, the biggest thing though is the fact that it depends on their characters, and you gotta look into that. First of all, Bryce was a rapist. You can't really redeem somebody like that. Zuko was misunderstood, and he was pretty much abandoned by his family except for his uncle, who stayed with him to the very end. Shoya was shown to be a good person from the beginning. It was just that he was bored and he didn't realize the actions that he was taking when he was a child that would lead him down to this sad path of depression. In 13 Reasons, Bryce was never shown to be a good person. It was only in season 3 where that was actually shown, and that he was misunderstood, which really just shows that it was lazy writing. If Bryce was shown in a different light to begin with, like back in season 1, if he was shown that he could be a good person, then there could have been a chance at redemption. But they failed at that. And since he died, Bryce was never redeemed. Instead, he died basically a martyr, which does not work. In fact, Bryce was made to be crueler as the first and second season went on. It wasn't until season 3 when he finally got a type of redemption. If you wanted Bryce to redeem himself, they should have had this plan from the beginning. It's already very hard to try to redeem somebody who thinks rape is okay, but I think it would have helped out a bit if he did confess to raping Hannah, if he goes to jail and so forth. Him dying really showed that he never had to face his actions. He's freed from them, which is a terrible redemption arc. I think the best decision could have been to keep him living, have him feel like shit for what he did for the rest of his life. That's what it should be. The fact that he died just shows that he managed to get away from his pain, and that's really annoying. They basically just made Bryce's arc as they went on. Zuko was planned from the beginning, and obviously Shoya, since it was a movie, the entire story was planned around his redemption arc. How exactly do you do a redemption arc, and how can you actually make it good? First thing is you gotta know who their character are, their mistakes, and their journeys. First, who are they and what do they stand for? What are the mistakes or actions did they make? Are they actively trying to atone for this, or do they just continue to move forward? And if they do atone, how do they go about it? The best way is you need to have the character relate to the audience. Bryce doesn't really relate to the audience because you can't really relate with a rapist. Not only that, his change throughout season 3 isn't organic. The writers don't take enough time to develop his character throughout the first and second season. Instead, the way that they try to make you relate with him is that they throw in sob stories. I think the more interesting route that they could have done with Bryce is not have him redeem. Have him understand what he did was wrong and just not care. Show him that he really is evil, like he was shown to be in season 1 and season 2, and just double down on it in season 3. Make him as hated as possible. A guy like this shouldn't be redeemed. The reason why Zuko's arc does work is because you can relate with his desire to belonging and being accepted by his father. He only had one goal, and that was to get his honor back. And the irony was that he was looking for his father's acceptance when he should have been looking for his uncle's acceptance, which he already accepted Zuko. He finally achieved his goal of getting his honor back. He killed the Avatar, but at what cost? Even while doing this, he was still angry and regretful over this decision. He was just so angry at himself, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, but later he finally understands that his decision was the wrong choice. Shoya's redemption arc works because you can relate with his desire to be a better person and make up for his mistakes. Throughout the entire movie, he just wants to be judged, and when he is judged, he accepts it and believes he's a bad person, even though he isn't. He just made a dumb choice as a kid, a pretty bad one, and he got punished for it by being excluded for so long. He finally gets the chance to apologize, and it's one of the most heartbreaking scenes. And the biggest thing is that he finally learned to forgive himself. And that's honestly, I think, one of the major themes with redemption. forgiveness. The thing with this is that people around them forgive them for what they did, and they learn to forgive themselves. It's their ultimate or climaxing point of the redemption arc, forgiveness. Zuko learns that he should have picked his uncle over his father, and the scene where he apologizes to his uncle is heartbreaking and truly cements his character growth. Shoya decides not only to ask for forgiveness to Shoko, but he learns to forgive himself for the mistakes he made. When he apologizes to Shoko, it's extremely sincere, and at the very last scene, when he finally learns to forgive himself, it is one of the most powerful scenes in the movie. The big thing though is that Zuko obviously had to forgive himself for what he did. He had to constantly apologize to Team Avatar for what he did, and he eventually learned to forgive himself as well. For the silent voice, it was mainly about Shoya forgiving himself, and that was the big point for his redemption. The thing with 13 Reasons Why is Bryce doesn't do that. He does apologize to the people that he raped, but it doesn't work very well. He doesn't forgive himself for what he did, which would be pretty hard to do since he raped somebody. Several people. I mean, goddamn. How can you really forgive yourself for something like that? So all in all, Bryce's arc was done very poorly, but Zuko's and Shoya's arc were really great examples of a redemption arc. Redemption is a beautiful arc if done right. It's one of the most powerful arcs that you can do in a story. People want to see a person grow. Going from where you were at before and actually succeeding is incredible. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you really enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. And if you want to, you can go ahead and subscribe too. Subscribing is free. Just do it. Go ahead. If you got any more suggestion videos, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to see them and see what I can do about them. I'm Mofo Genius. Thanks for watching.